I'm Xavier, I'm a friend of Rob's, and I'm a black powder shooter, among other things, by the way. And today we're going to reload for my Winchester 92 black powder rifle, and we're going to reload 38 38 Winchester centerfire, also known as 3840 caliber. So let's go ahead.
How old is the gun?
The gun is from actually 1992.
1892.
1892, that is correct.
Brilliant.
So,
what's the size?
well, let's compare it to, for example, a 9mm or a 357.
The Magnum.
The Magnum, and we'll compare it with a head on it later on, but
Yeah.
that gives you a bit of an idea. It's actually a 10mm case
Stunning.
in width.
Can I try shooting it?
Of course you can. We'll do that later on. Definitely.
Oh.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
The reloading process is get your notes.
Ah.
Every reloader will have notes, and especially for black powder, especially if you're shooting multiple rifles, then make sure you have your notes, because you will find out that not all powder charges will work for your rifle. I've got a few examples from the guy who I bought the rifle from. He said, okay, I gave it this amount of powder, but that doesn't mean it will work for you.
Yeah.
Especially if it's different powder, you're using different heads, etc. So you have to make it work for you.
Yeah.
So, and in order to remember what you did previously and whether it was okay or not, write it down. So I finally, after about 6 months of experimenting, found the load and the consistency of the bullet that works for me. But the one thing that's different when reloading for black powder compared to nitro is you have to make sure that the entire casing is filled. You cannot have air in the casing.
Yeah, no empty space.
Indeed. And each reloader will tell you probably something different on how they deal with that. Some people just scoop black powder into the entire case. Other people use...
Serious?
Yeah, that's what it's designed for. But if we're trying to get any kind of accuracy out of it, then we try to mix it up a bit, of course. But those people, they're using couscous.
Serious?
That
I thought you were just hungry.
Nope, couscous is a great filling.
Okay.
Wheat is being used. I know people who use pillow stuffings. Find something that works for you.
Yeah.
And well, you'll see actually that I found out that in the end for this caliper, I'm using actually wax, my own homemade bullet wax. And we'll come to that later in the process in reloading the rifle.
Yeah.
So,
can't wait.
But for now we have a shot use case. It's being cleaned. Cleaned. It has been put into the dishwasher soap after shooting immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Rinsed it out, but the primer is still in it. So first step is to resize it.
Yeah, back to factory.
Back to factory indeed. So in order to do that, let's get the die set.
Did you clean this one by tumbling or with the ultrasonic cleaner?
Neither.
Neither?
Neither. It's just...
It's been shot and you save it and that's it.
It's shot, it's been put into the dishwasher soap.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's been rinsed out and dried. Okay. And that way it keeps a bit of the original patina. The whole, I have ultrasonic cleaner.
Yeah, I love it.
It is beautiful, but that's only to give it a nice shine in the end. But it's clean on the inside.
No, I don't agree. Yeah. Let's even say I disagree. There will always be some powder residue on the inside, and after cleaning it in the ultrasonic cleaner, that will also be 100% clean.
That is fair enough, and it will make a difference if you're shooting for precision. If you're shooting with a rifle that is 150 years old, then
correct.
The tolerances are a bit more less tight, so you don't have to be as precise with everything as it is. If I shoot 308 then yeah, sure, everything is new by the time it gets into the rifle. So, but for black powder shooting, I'd say it's more an aesthetic choice to clean it back to a new state.
Yeah, agree.
That's what we're going for. So, the die set. First, decapping and full resizing. Where's my decapping there? This has already been set up, obviously.
Yeah.
So I think Rob will be happy to do an entire video on how to set up a die.
No, I won't.
Well, there are plenty of them.
Yeah, more than enough.
That are more than enough. But even then, maybe one of the... this is the first step. The next step is also find your own guru. Find somebody in the club, find somebody you know who has experience doing this. There's a lot of information on YouTube, of course, nowadays, but it's always such a help to have somebody who's done it before to help you with this setup. I found a guy in the club who helped me with all of this, and yeah, it's just such a... it saves you a lot of frustration, and we can't just run it through the die like this. You also have to use a bit of case loop before you actually run it through the die. Usually we have all these case loop pads that's more for rifle cartridges. It doesn't really apply here. Here we just make sure there's a bit of loop on the lower part of the case head.
Did it happen that you forgot it and that it got stuck in the die set?
No, hasn't happened yet.
Okay, let's
sure
keep
it will happen once. But what I usually do is just put a drop with the hand that I take the case. That's all. It doesn't need much. And that's basically all. With your dry hand, remove it.
Yeah.
Up. That's all. We're just doing a small series, of course. Normally, I do 50 in one sitting. But especially when you're shooting black powder, you will find it. You will not make ammo in batches of more than 50 usually, simply because the cases are hard to come by.
How many times can you reload the shells?
These are now on their 12th reload.
Yeah.
This is going to be their 12th reload. Still doing fine. To be fair, I'm not annealing the cases. There's not really too much pressure being put with black powder load that I'm putting them through, but that's a decision everybody has to make for themselves. So far, I haven't seen any cracks or defaults in. So far, so good, I'd say. So the cases are now back to their full length size
and deprimed.
And deprimed indeed.
Yeah.
They are now a bit greasy, so.
Are these the same primers as the long rifle primers?
No, these are large pistol.
Large pistol?
Large pistol, yes.
That's the regular ones we use in the nitro.
And just to make sure that you don't falling off the entire process, give the cases a quick clean so the grease is off. It's real quick, just. Now, the cases are resized, and that means they are, according to my notes, a maximum of 33.15 millimeters.
Let's find out.
And as Rob will have undoubtedly told you, meten is weten.
Yes.
Or measuring is knowing. So we get the old calipers out. So we got 33.16 on the calipers. You can then put them off, save some battery, and just make sure that the case fits in between the calipers, like this. To be fair, I have yet to find a case that didn't make this test, but
yeah,
it's always good to do that. Check done.
Check, check, double check.
Indeed. Calipers away. Let's put that back. Next step, priming.
That's the best part.
Is it?
Well, I have an auto primer, so it's very easy.
Yeah, well, as I'm priming mostly for black powder at the moment, I didn't invest in an auto primer yet. I'm just using it, the one that is part of the press. And that's simply good enough.
You don't clean the, we call it zundgat?
Nah.
No?
Never had a problem with it.
It fits, so it's fine.
It fits, so it's fine indeed. So, there's of course 10 different ways to prime a case, but I use the one that is part of the rock chucker, so that's the easiest for me. For this specific rifle, because the cases go into a magazine tube under the barrel,
yeah,
I have to make sure that
it's a lever action.
It's a lever action, okay. Indeed, huh? So that it is very flush, because the cases are stacked like this into each other. You don't want during a firing the primer being activated. So
can give great pictures and videos, but
yes. So if I feel that the primer is not very flush, then I'll give it an extra
go.
And now it is fully flush. Yeah. So
did it ever happen that it exploded while doing this?
No, but I don't want to find out what happens. And that is basically...
Well, this can be your chance to go viral.
No, thank you. So we resized our brass, we cleaned it, but we still have to flare it so the bullet actually fits in it.
What happens if you don't do it?
Yeah.
Will it crush the whole unit?
Well, we're using lead bullets, like in the most...
so they'll just fall off at the side?
Yeah, to a certain extent. So you have a bullet that is no longer concentric or fully round. And
may I?
Yeah, sure. So, no, it needs a little bit of flare.
Here we have the 38, if you can see it. To compare, this is a 9mm, and this is my 357 semi-watt cutter. So
what are we going to do? These are .402 175 grain bullets. We'll compare it after flaring and before flaring. So after flaring, it fits fully on top of this, but we needed to fall a little bit into it in order to be able to fit it.
Just enough so it will stick?
Just enough so it will stick. Indeed.
Okay.
Correct. So out goes the full-length sizing die. And in goes the flare. So all you have to do is just, that's basically it. And if you compare this now, I'm not sure if you can see this.
Zoom
in. And then we'll see.
Well, wait a second, so it won't bibberen. It will stop bibbering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can find out which one is flared and which one isn't. I already know. So, not sure if you can see this, but...
Yeah, the one on the right from this side.
Yeah, this is where the bullet fits into, and this one is where it sits on top of. So that's,
clear.
That's basically the difference. Yes. So next step, powder load.
What kind of powder do you use?
Black powder, Swiss #2. It's the go-to. If you don't know what your rifle likes, then this is basically the gold standard. So,
how many powder do you put in it? 20, 25 grain?
Let's look. 21 grains.
21, okay.
According to our calculations or our recipe.
Yeah.
That means we have the old scoop sets, and this one is about right.
Oh, wait, I'm not sure if it's visible. Yeah.
The old scoop sets. And even though we come closer, we still do it on the decimal. So I want 21 grains, that means I want exactly 21 grains per charge. So I'm used to doing this pretty exactly, and I'm sure Rob is going to cut quite a lot out of it because I'm my own trickler. So yeah, 21.1, that means a few less. And now most people would advise using a what do you call it, a powder mill. A powder dispenser like you would have for nitro. Most modern powder dispensers for nitro are not suitable for black powder. Explosion danger.
Brilliant.
I've never heard of somebody
me neither,
but you don't want to be the first.
Yeah.
Simple as that. So that's 21 grains.
Into the funnel.
Into the funnel. It's just a plastic funnel. Doesn't really do much else. And next.
How come you're putting it on the table and not in the loading block? To fill it up. Any particular reason?
Only that I simply could have or should put it done it this way, but that's actually easier. So thanks, Rob.
You're welcome.
20.9. That means a few more.
And a bit.
And there we are.
I know somebody who's also reloading, but he's a butcher, so it's very dangerous if you're using his ammunition.
A butcher?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, it's very easy because he's many times saying to his customers, "Can it be a little more?" Yeah, I know.
Oh, for your sake, just cut this. My God. That's a joke only Dutch people will understand.
In Holland we say, mag het een beetje meer zijn?
And 21 grains, there we are. Indeed. So now the case is fully prepared. The powder charge is in there. And now comes what makes the difference between nitro and black powder.
Filling the air.
Filling the air, indeed. Because we have a very scientific method of measuring if the case is filled enough. And that is the let me take the red one. Yeah. The line on a stick case.
Ah.
Method. So if we put this in there and we see how far it goes in there, we have about half a centimeter of air to fill.
4.8 millimeter.
Yeah, and now I shouldn't be doing that because there's a bit of powder actually sticking to the end of my very scientific measuring instrument. But okay, so we have that amount to fill. Now we could fill that with the couscous, etc. But we want to make sure that the components with which we fill it are separated.
Yeah.
So we use simply carton discs or paper discs or watts or whatever you have to make it fill. But anything that you put in your bullet affects your bullet trajectory and your accuracy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this is where I found out that for my gun, my bullets, putting a grease wad in there really makes the difference. I still need to separate the wad from the powder and the bullet head, of course.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, we have our wad collection. So we need, in this case, for now, a carton disc 7/16 of an inch. 7/16 of an inch.
How do you make them?
Wish.com is your friend.
We use a whole pipeje.
Indeed. So it is actually it's on the desk.
It's hidden.
Oh, it's right here. So how do we make this? We have our wad cutters holes, all in different sizes, and I always make a sizable amount of them just to make sure I don't run out during the reloading.
Yeah, special paper or?
Actually, this is an old milk carton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't use regular printer paper or something like that. That is too flimsy.
Yeah.
If you use real cardboard, which Amazon ships in, that's too big.
Yeah.
So a milk carton that has a bit of a plasticky layer, of course, always. That's perfect for my use. So we just put it in there. It's a bit bigger than it actually supposed to be. So it actually, well, as you can see, the case becomes a bit bigger there, but it's still being held in place by the pressure of the oversize.
Yeah.
And that comes in handy for the next step when we are going to fill it with grease.
Yeah.
And you'll see that. So what I do is I'll just quickly grab a punch, something like that, to get it in there. Oh. So I have to make sure that it's straight in there. And in an ideal world, it's tight enough that there's no black powder coming out of it.
Wow.
If you put it. Now, if like me, you have Korsakoff and you don't remember which bullet you were, always have a little lamp and you can see where you were. So this one doesn't have a head. So it doesn't have a paper patch in it. So put it in there. That's great. That's tight.
Well, it wouldn't be a disaster if you were having two on them.
No, that of course then, yeah, even for the amount of fill, it wouldn't really make too much of a difference. So, okay, so now we can separate our powder from the next layer, which is the wad of grease. Now, I found that a wad of grease helps me with accuracy in follow-up shots because there's less fouling in your barrel.
Yeah.
And because there's less fouling, then also the cleanup after the shooting becomes a little more easy because it's really the difference between half an hour of cleaning and putting patches through your barrel and 5 minutes.
You're always cleaning right after you shot it because it's black powder.
Always.
It will corrode.
It will corrode. Always clean right after shooting.
Okay.
I know people take it home first and then clean, but don't put it in your safe and forget about it, or take it out the next day or after 2 days, because it will make your life a lot harder. I always tell people, shooting black powder is an additional hobby next to your shooting hobby.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot more coming to it with bullet preparation.
Yeah, I see the reloading also as a hobby inside the hobby.
Yeah, but when you're reloading for black powder, then you have an additional difficulty level because nothing is readily available except basically the powder and maybe the primers. But the heads, the cases, that's all usually for most calibers that it's going to be a bit of a struggle to find.
Yeah, do it yourself.
Well, you can go as far as casting your own heads even. In this case, I don't have to. I have a,
You can still buy them?
If you look hard enough and you have a bit of luck, then yeah. But no guarantee that if I can find them today, you can find them next year.
Okay, but if you would be that lucky, it's better to go to the casino instead of using black powder.
Well, let's say that if I find a batch, then I buy in bulk.
Yeah.
I don't buy 10,000 heads at a time because I don't shoot that much black powder.
Oh, yeah, I would.
But no, you wouldn't.
I would, yeah, for sure.
Simply because where are you going to find 500 casings to reload at a time?
I think I will have more luck finding them than going to the casino.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Next step. Okay, so as I said, what I do is I fill them up with a bit of grease. Now, I'm sure Rob will put my grease recipe in the
description.
In the description, indeed, because I found that description also from YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube is a great resource nowadays for reloaders, so love that. So, what I have here. Is my trusty grease repository. Wow. That did sound very strange, by the way, my grease repository. Anyway, moving on. So I made a big block of grease. That's
what is it, beeswax?
It's beeswax with paraffin, coconut oil.
This is already prepared?
This is already pre-prepared.
Okay.
But in this format, it's still not really any use to me because I need a layer about this thick to put in the bullets, and you can't scoop it up and do it like that. So what I did is I melted down a bit of this into a rubber mat, something like this.
And just regular silicone?
This is regular silicone. It's a silicone baking mold, basically. And I'm just compressing it down to the amount that I needed for the bullet. And it doesn't have to be super accurate, etc. But this is where the paper disc that is airtight comes in, because now you can simply press it in there.
Yeah.
And because it's silicone, that's basically how you do it.
Brilliant.
Then you put another wad on that to separate the bullet from the wad. So let's do that quickly for all these.
You still have to clean the case mouth, of course, after this. How many times did it happen that the black powder was falling off? It happened? Of course. Yeah. It happened to me a few times when I was busy reloading, putting the powder in it, and then I found out using a primer first would be a lot easier. Terrible. Yes, indeed. So if this happens to you, don't worry, you're not the first, nor will you be the last. So. No shame in it.
Of all of that.
Now, this is a quick.
So we have our grease in the case. So let's put that away. Get it in there and make sure that it doesn't contaminate the flight path of the head. So that's where another cotton disc comes in. This one, 3/8 of an inch.
It's not the same size?
No, because the bullet flares a bit down, so it's a bit smaller. This one. So we just put those on there. And now, if we use our trusty rag to clean the leftover of the grease,
Did you know that the French fries were originally not found in France?
Wasn't it American?
No, they were first made in Greece.
French fries?
Mm-hmm. Greece.
The more you know. Oh, Greece. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, twisted me.
So now we can get back to our scientific measuring stick.
Yeah, the
actually see that if we pull this down, we're getting to
Whoa.
the line exactly. Ta-da!
It's a miracle. There it goes. You can compress it a bit, it's no problem, and later on the bullets will also compress it anyway, so. Yeah. But this shows that we are in the ballpark where we need to be.
And I still see I have a bit of wax residue left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see it here on the inside.
Indeed. So
we call it klodder.
Indeed. So out comes the old rag, and we'll drag the rag along. That was my pathetic attempt at a joke. Sorry, guys. I'm not experienced as Rob in this. So next up, bullet sizing. And the good news is, that's the last step.
No, that's for the reloading, the last step. The best part is yet to come, the shooting.
So, out comes the flare die. Flare die.
In goes the seating die.
This one seats the bullet and gives it immediately a crimp.
A crimp, okay.
And
strong crimp?
Medium in this case, but not too loose in this case.
Mm-hmm.
What you will hear many people say when they're shooting black powder is, I don't even crimp my bullets. I don't even actually resize my cases or fully size my cases for most of my black powder rifles.
Okay.
Simply because they are fire formed. So that means when you shoot them,
the chamber will make the shell perfect size.
And as long as you don't shoot it in any other weapon of the same caliber, then you're golden. However, these have to go into the old magazine tube. And then you can't have that. So you need to make sure that the bullet is crimped correctly and tight enough to work in that chamber.
Yeah.
Otherwise, well, you can imagine what happens then with a
I can't.
bullet head in the chamber. Yeah. That's a bad day. So we have our bullet hole. Put it as straight as you can on there. Die itself will of course correct any major errors, but always try to at least put it on a bit straight. Some people use gloves when they're handling leaden bullet heads.
You can wash them when you're finished.
I wash my hands after I'm finished.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of doing that and always quickly checking your bullet, but that looks pretty shootable to me.
Yeah, nice one. Nice edge.
I'll take it. And we'll just repeat that for 4 more bullets. Yeah, I'm setting up those dice to make sure that the crimp and the seating depth, etc., is all exactly as you would want it. That's of course another video entirely.
Yeah.
In my case, I have to give props to my personal reloading guru, John. If you see this, John, you know who you are.
If somebody decides he wants to go starting shooting the black powder part of the hobby. Is it expensive? Compared to nitro?
Compared to nitro? It depends, of course, also on the caliber you're using. So this, I think, is my least expensive caliber to shoot. The cases are pretty easily available. The bullet heads are available. There's not too much black powder going into this. Die set is available. If we're talking for a Martini Henry, then you're paying nowadays about 6 to 7 euros per case.
Shot?
No, per case.
Oh, yeah.
Those cases, of course, can be reloaded. Then again, they're also, instead of that, this is 21 grains that goes into it.
The Henry, 40, 45?
Double that, yeah. So yeah, and if you are already reloading for nitro, then this doesn't add too much expense.
But it's the same with nitro. When you start reloading, you have to buy all the reloading equipment.
So in that regard, I wouldn't say it's much more expensive than anything else. It's just more a challenge of finding the components. But
and the price of the die set, that's also comparable to the nitro with die sets?
It's all second hand mostly, of course.
No, I bought my 357 38 special die set, and I think it was 124 euro for the 3 die set.
Yeah, you have to be a bit lucky there also to find it second hand. For most calibers, there are new die sets available as well, and they range from anywhere of indeed 125 to 300.
Serious?
Depending on the caliber. If you compare, for example, this die set with a Martini Henry die set, you need a bit of bigger dies. Compare that to this.
Does it still fit in the RCBS rock tucker?
Yes, because it has a screw insert that you can remove.
Ah.
But if you want to know how to reload for Martini Henry, then Iraq Veteran 8888 has a 2-hour video that's excellent.
Yeah.
Which
I've seen some videos of him. He's pretty good at it.
Indeed. So that's another story. And well, that's it.
So that's the start.
That's the start. So when we go shooting, I'll make sure that this box is more than half full.
Yeah.
And then we'll see if we can create some smoke.
Let's find out. Let's hope so. I'm very curious if it will be fun to shoot. It looks like, that's my opinion about black powder. They are pretty loaded, but if you shoot it, it's very soft compared to the nitro part.
What I always tell people, shooting black powder is like getting a push, whereas shooting nitro is being punched.
Yeah, and I can punch pretty good, so yeah.
Indeed.
Oh, brilliant.
Nice.
The final part.
Okay.
The bullets. Yeah. Pretty good. I can't wait. Okay, Xavier, thank you so much already.
You're welcome.
And what do you think?
We're gonna have some fun, that's what I think.
That's what I'm thinking too. Thank you, and see you at the range. Forgot something.
Yes.
Do you have to have special papers to buy the black powder, to buy the gun or whatever, or how does it work in the Netherlands, of course?
I can't tell anything about how it works in other countries, but in the Netherlands you can buy a black powder rifle without any permit. You have to be 18 or 21, not really sure, you have to be an adult, to buy such a rifle, but you don't need to have any permit to have that rifle. Now, if you want to shoot it, then you have to take two things into consideration. The first thing is you need to have already a VLOF,
permit.
A weapons permit.
Yeah.
And then you need to put the caliber that you're shooting, the black powder caliber that you're shooting, you have to put that on your paper, on your permit.
The police arranges the things.
Yes, you
and
have
make it legal.
Yeah, so you
bring the permit to the gunman who sells it, and he can sell it to you.
Yeah, that is correct.
But I've seen that the black powder guns, rifles, pistols, revolvers, everything, they're also made quite new. Is it also free to get?
Now, replicas that are made are simply not, those are made, of course, you can shoot black powder out of them, but most of those replicas you shoot actually nitro out of them.
Serious?
Most of them.
So they're buying a replica from a very old weapon to shoot modern gunpowder.
Well, you can, and the reason, and because you can, it's not legal. So
how do you know it's an old one or a new one?
Well, sometimes for the most respectable brands like Winchester, for example, you can look that up based on the serial number.
Yeah.
For others, you have to do a bit of investigation on how that works. Yeah. You can see it on the marks on the rifle.
Yeah, the stamps.
The stamps, indeed. If it has a nitro stamp, then it is automatically vergunningplichtig, a weapon
needs
you needs permit, and it takes one slot in your permit. So that's the good part. Having you can have as many black powder rifles as you want, and you can have as many calibers of black powder ammunition on your papers, on your permit.
Does it make any difference? Because I know how it works with the permit in Holland, in the Netherlands. There are different stages where you can buy different calibers.
Yeah. So, for example, in stage 1, you can only use
22 long rifle.
Yeah, you're shooting a small caliber. However, that doesn't apply for black powder. So, if you have a permit which allows you to only shoot 22 in nitro, then you can still shoot this or even a Martini Henry in black powder. You have a gun permit, that's good enough.
Yeah.
But there's one more thing that you need to take into consideration. If you're going to reload, then you need an environmental permit that that allows you to store black powder. And that is also something that you have to go to the police to request.
Yeah. The Explo permit.
Exactly. Yeah, same as for nitro.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Can you show me the weapon before we go to the range?
Of course.
I'm very curious. Can't wait.
Let's show it.
So this is the one, the Winchester 1892. Dus the model 992. Yeah, nice one. Lever action. I think it's in pretty good condition.
Well, we'll see on the range, how it shoots.
Yeah, let's find out. Yeah, stunning. Thanks.